Hey Run Junkies, happy Labor Day weekend. It's getting real now. I just finished week 8 of my training for the Dopey challenge. Last week, if you were watching, I had a rough go of it. I was facing some personal challenge and I wasn't managing and coping with them very well. And while it's not hunky-dory all the time, I am managing my emotional and mental health a little bit better, making some personal changes, so we're all good moving forward. First of all, I have to say kudos to my 8-year-old son who finished his 3rd neighborhood triathlon last weekend. This is an event he looks forward to every year. He did an amazing job and he knocked 3 minutes off of his time from last year. And that was all on the bike, so I'm super proud of him. The other thing that I'm really proud of him for is that he helped hand out water at one of the run aid stations for the older kids races. I'm just very proud of him and it was a great day. We are starting what I'm calling phase 3 of this particular training plan. What that means is that we are adding evening walks into the plan. Now, according to the plan, as prescribed by Coach MK, we have 3 15-minute walks to be completed 10 hours after the morning run. All of these walks need to be completed under 120 beats per minute. Sure, that's easy enough. However, we do a lot of walking in our family. My son has set a huge goal for himself this year through a school program. He wants to do 180 to 200 miles of walking and running throughout the school year. So we accomplish this goal by walking to and from school, which is just over 1.25 miles in one direction. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes. Well, round trip for me, that is 45 minutes and over 2.5 miles. Do that round trip 4 to 5 times a week. So my question for Coach MK was, is that too much walking? According to Coach MK, no, it is not. And here's why. With the Dopey challenge being 4 races over 4 days, covering 48.6 miles, you are already on your feet a lot. Also, if you're like me and my family, we're making this a racecation. So not only are we doing the races, but we are going to be spending a lot of time in the parks, adding more time on our feet, not just walking around, but also standing in line. So my suggestion to you is that if you are traveling for a Run Disney racecation, add evening walks into your plan. I would also go so far as to say, go to the zoo, go to a museum, spend time at the mall, wander around spending time on your feet, because that's different time on your feet than walking or running in a straight line on a trail. Now here's my small change I made for this week, and it might raise a few eyebrows, especially if you are heart rate training with Coach MK. I had to make this change in order for me to cope better. I wasn't getting the stress release that I usually get from my runs by keeping my heart rate under 140 beats per minute. What I did was go back into a 5K test that I did with a previous coach to determine my heart rate zones. What we determined from that test is that my aerobic threshold is several beats higher. So I am using that threshold as opposed to the 140 beats per minute. So my easy effort runs are allowing me to continue running and not stop to walk to recover my heart rate. And I know some of you may not agree with me. This is a decision that I had to make in order to stay with this training plan and not completely quit. So here's where the victory came. Not so much in the miles run, but in the miles walked. In addition to the 22 miles run, almost 6 hours of running, I also added almost 12 miles of walking, 3.5 hours. Now coming up next week, I do have a race on the calendar. Whether or not I do it is still up in the air. It is a local 10-miler that I was going to use as proof of time for Run Disney. I was able to do some calculations, and right now my corral placement in the Run Disney races is about halfway back of the pack. So I do have quite a bit of cushion between when I start and when the balloon ladies are going to come through. So I do have quite a bit of cushion in there for the half and the full marathons. So whether or not I actually do it is up in the air. I have a lot of other things that need to get done, so it's going to be kind of a game day decision for me. But coming up, there's lots of walking, a lot more running coming up, and it just gets longer and longer from here. Anyway, that is it for Dopey Challenge Training Week 8. If you are training for something, I want to know what that is and how it's going. Please leave a comment in the box below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I'm looking forward to seeing you next weekend. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time, and until then, happy running.